Welcome to the iIntro demonstration video. Over the next few moments we're going to look at a sample iIntro campaign so you can get an idea of what to expect and how iIntro can help you make a more accurate recruiting decision. Imagine for a moment that you're looking for a new sales and marketing director. The recruitment consultant will work with you to establish your requirements for this position, and then at the end of a search process, the results will be delivered to you online through the iIntro system. And what I'm about to show you is what that presentation would look like. We begin on this page, the campaign overview page, and most of what you can see here is self-explanatory. The company name is here, the position being recruited is here, the company logo appears here, and on the right hand side are the candidates that have made the shortlist. On the left hand side are the campaign documents, and in the centre is the background and requirements. The background and requirements is the consultant's understanding of what you're looking for in a candidate. This will be created right at the beginning of the process, so it's in black and white, and you can either say, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for, or perhaps, yes, that's almost right, but I also need you to factor in this or that. Once the background and requirements is complete and you're happy with it, this will be the blueprint that the consultant uses to locate and assess the candidates. And it's included here on the front page as a reminder of the parameters that were agreed. Before we begin looking at the candidates, let's take a quick look at the campaign documents over here on the left-hand side. These documents, such as job specification and preferential terms, relate to any agreements made with the consultant, and they're included here so they can be conveniently accessed whenever you need them. The key competencies is perhaps one of the most important aspects of iIntro, because it gives you an excellent insight into the knowledge and experience of each candidate, and crucially, as we're going to see in a few moments, this is going to help you compare the candidates directly. The questions that are chosen for this questionnaire can either be chosen by you directly from our database of questions, or you can request a consultant to select the questions on your behalf based on their understanding of your requirements. Typically, each candidate will write around 1, 2, maybe 3 paragraphs answering each question. It's enough to give you some extra insight into the candidate's background, but not so much that you're swamped with information. Okay, let's take a closer look at the candidates. By clicking on each one in turn, you can view in-depth information on each candidate and learn more about their experience, their interests, their achievements, their abilities, and so on. Let's start with John Smith and work our way through what's available. We start with a photo, and then immediately below that is an introductory video.
Hello, my name is John Smith. I currently work as the new business manager for a medium-sized distributor in Bristol. I have 7 years of experience in sales. My background includes
We ask each candidate to prepare a 2 to 3 minute video introduction that includes their background and what they feel they can bring to the role. We very deliberately give them as few guidelines as possible, and the result is that you get a very natural video that can be quite insightful in terms of revealing that person's personality and even their confidence levels. Some people, as you might expect, aren't used to talking to a camera, whereas other people are very relaxed with the process. Some people just talk quietly to the camera, other people get really involved and prepare a short presentation. But whatever approach they take, the video presentation is a really good opportunity to learn something different about the candidate and helps you to start getting a feel for their personality. Moving down, we have some campaign documents, including the candidate's CV. We also have some key facts which we ask the candidates to provide. Again, we avoid giving too much guidance here, so the candidate feels free to enter the information that they feel is most relevant or to share the achievements of which they're most proud. References, if available at this stage, will either be a contact or a downloadable letter of reference. And then we have the key competency responses, and this is their reply to the question that we set up at the beginning. You can see that each reply is relatively brief, but this commits the candidate to expanding on what's on their CV. You'll know from experience that CVs can often be little more than a list of job positions and key achievements, whereas the key competencies allows you to gain some real comprehension of what the candidate is about and specifics on what they've achieved. The McQuaig report is a candidate's personal test results and the interpretation. It's a long document, but I'll just highlight some of the key areas. This chart is a snapshot of their personality and aptitude. So for example, the red scale here shows whether the person is more dominant or accepting. Or, in other words, are they competitive and goal-oriented, or are they more deliberate and cautious? You'll notice that none of these behavioural scales are about whether the person is intelligent or whether they're good at their job. It's more about their mindset and their working style. And what we find is that different profiles tend to lend themselves to different kinds of work. The profile for a good salesperson, for instance, often looks quite different to that of an effective manager, and different again to an engineer. There is lots of explanation in this report about what this particular profile indicates, but if we skip ahead, then we can directly compare this person's profile to the benchmark. What we recommend at the beginning of the search, at the same time as doing the background and requirements, is to test your existing employees who are already performing well and use this to establish a benchmark. What we have in this instance on the left-hand side is the average benchmark profile for the employer, and on the right-hand side is the profile of the candidate. What this means is that if a candidate has a profile that is similar to the chart on the left, then in terms of aptitude and behaviour, then this person could be a good fit. Of course, you still have to factor in knowledge and experience, but this report is giving you information that you cannot obtain simply by reading someone's CV or even by interviewing them. What we like to say is that most people tend to hire on skills and experience, but fire on behaviours. So, rather than waiting until you've hired that person to find out what their behaviour is like, this report gives you this information up front. In this instance, the profile is very close, and it describes John as being a strong match. Further down, you can see this broken down into the 4 areas. You can see he's strong in the first 2 areas, a potential match in the 3rd area, but doesn't match in the 4th. There's a lot more information in this report, and if you decide to interview a candidate, then it's well worth reading this report through carefully in advance. Not least of which because the report also provides you with some suggested questions and subjects to discuss at the interview based on what you're looking for and what this report has revealed about the individual. Moving on to the benchmark graph, this is another key area of iIntro because this compares all the candidates against each other based on the key competencies that were selected at the beginning of a campaign and also the candidates' current or expected salaries. The candidates have been ordered with the highest salary on the right and the lowest on the left, and this line here shows the salary line. The bar graph is based on the score that the consultant has given to each candidate based on their CV, their responses to the key competency questions, and also the McQuaig results, and also maybe telephone conversations with the candidate. Yes, it's subjective, but it allows you to see very easily what the consultant's view is of each candidate. If you don't have time to interview every candidate, then this graph can be very helpful in allowing you to decide which maybe 2 or 3 candidates you really want to see. Also, by overlaying the scores with the salary line, you can see if there are candidates that might, shall we say, offer excellent value for money. John, for example, is scoring well across the board, but has the lowest current salary. Finally, in the centre of each candidate's page, you have the executive profile. This is a short profile or summary prepared by the consultant that provides his personal view on why this candidate has made the shortlist and what their strengths are. The consultant will have provided all of this information for each of the candidates on the shortlist, and all you have to do is click on each picture to view their details, and by the time you've viewed all the information, you'll have a very thorough understanding of each candidate and their relative strengths, and the reasons why they've made the shortlist. There are just a few other features to tell you about. If we scroll down to the bottom of each candidate, you'll see there's a Download All Documents button. This button, unsurprisingly, downloads all of that candidate's data. This is useful if you want to store the information locally, or perhaps print some of the documents out. The documents are downloaded in the zip format, so once you've saved them to your machine, you'll need to extract them. Depending on the machine you're using or the software that you have, you can usually do this by right-clicking on the file and selecting Extract or Unzip. If you're unsure of how to do this, go to YouTube and search for how to unzip and then your machine or operating system, and you'll find plenty of videos that will demonstrate how to do this for your particular setup. Add to Shortlist is a function that puts a star next to the candidate, so that if you're just picking out 2 or 3 people to interview, you can keep track of who you decided to see. For example, if you add these 2 people to the shortlist, you can see they're highlighted here. And if I scroll down and click on Toggle Shortlist, it hides the rest of the candidates. You can get them back again by again clicking on Toggle Shortlist. Request Interview and Make an Offer sends an email to the consultant with that respective message. This simply prompts the consultant to contact you to arrange the details. Last but not least, you'll find a commenting feature on each candidate page. Post a comment here and it'll stay attached to that candidate's page. You can use this however you wish, perhaps to leave a note or reminder for yourself, or you could even write your opinion on each candidate before showing the campaign to one of your colleagues, so they can add their view as well. That completes the iIntro demonstration video. When you're ready, please proceed to video number 6.